Hey everyone, it's the Villains Man, and I'm JVD.
I'm Smiley, and today for Dungeon Discussions, we're speaking about a homebrew class that we see as Notch, the Witch Hunter.
I'm letting you take this. This is all you.
Oh,
Buddy.
just like here. You're the only one talking today. Have fun.
No, I'm just going to add on to what I am, because here's the thing, and we discussed this beforehand. Okay, Richard, my character Brawldrack died, wanted me to play his class Witch Hunter.
Yeah.
So because it's lore we're trying to introduce into our game.
Yeah.
There's not a lot in our game that you have learned about it. It's just bits and pieces and what Trevok, I should say, knows. Yeah. Because he's the only character I've told about it. And me, as a player, I don't want to read up about it. I want to learn about it in the game as what I can. Because as a player, I think that's the best way to learn about stuff, is in game. That way, it doesn't kill the game. You're not metagaming for purposes. And it's something that we're introducing in our game, which we're starting out here in Out of the Abyss. I am assuming you are still playing one once we're done.
As of right now, yeah.
Okay.
I'm wanting to play one because I think it'll be fun.
Now, just to give you some insight on my character Notch begrudgingly done this. You realize that it was his only option, and it's what made the most sense for him at the time. And he kind of rebels against the rules because he doesn't like to be controlled and tied down. He is bound to his patron called the Nothingness, which is this massive night walker that lives on the Shadowfeld. And
I actually made stats for, by the way.
Yeah, I have stats for him too.
Oh, do you? You have the same stats I have?
I doubt it.
What's yours?
He's a 23.
Mine's 25.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, hey, we'll go with whatever. I was trying to make him even there with like the demon lords.
That's about what I was going for too.
But I didn't want to make him too overbearing because the Raven Queen lives in the Shadowfeld, so
I see him as more of an enigmatic presence.
Oh yeah, but anyways, and Notch has, I would say, become more in line with everything as he's learned that the Witch Hunter's purpose to seek out evil and the magic that it causes and destroys it is actually playing out in front of him right now as we're in Gracklestug. So with that, I'm going to let you break down into this lore of the Witch Hunter.
The Witch Hunter's favorite room involves a lot of what an idea and concept I love inside of D&D that grew really big in Spelljammer, which is interplanar crossovers and cohesions and stuff.
Comic book stuff.
Yeah, and it's something that is realistic within Faerun. And within D&D, it's an actual thing where all these worlds exist within the same universe.
Mm-hmm. And it should be like that. I agree.
And that's why I try to allude to a lot with the Witch Hunters, how they come and go out of history. Like I reflavored the Bryces of Cain tomb to tie it in with the Witch Hunters, the back and forth of it. And the idea of them is that they are a boogeyman. They appear when times get too tough from the abuse of magic, and they leave when things settle down. That's always been a bit of the idea of them. They're not tyrants, they're just a policing of it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always try to keep their overall origins fairly vague. In a lot of documentations, I reference the Raven Queen a lot because she's a collector of memories. And I always thought that was a very nice motif for them.
Mm-hmm.
That she was thwarted by magic before, and it kind of gave her a reasoning for it. In my homebrew world, the orders of the Witch Hunters came at the impasse of a god. He gave mankind magic, and it caused this civil war between the priests of the other gods and the wizards of that god that grew out of hand to such an extent that something had to be done about them. And much where I try my best, like in our game, I try to keep them kind of vague so we can work on them as we play through. Mm-hmm. And I try to keep putting too much in it. They are superstitious to an extent. They believe a lot in the power of a name. You don't use your true name when you become a witch hunter. You no longer have whatever name you did have. You assign yourself a new name that you go by, a call sign, a code name, whatever you want to call it.
And I would assume, and I'm just going to throw this out there, based on my character, Notch, it's almost like knowing the name of a devil.
Yeah.
Like to speak it makes them go, what? Like, how do you know my name?
Yeah. And, like, Bubido refers to Notch by his name. It's to get under his skin.
Yeah, he calls me Tetherath.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what set me off to realize, okay, Bubido's not Bubido. He's something else, because Bubido wouldn't know my name. And no one in our game has called me Tetherath.
Yeah.
And he's called me that in front of people. And no
but
one,
only after you revealed who he was. To the people.
My character is, he's like, fuck him. So
yeah, it's like, all right, if we're not going to have civilities, then we're not going to have civilities.
So we're talking about Notch here.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, he struck a guard and was like, run. So, but yes, continue on.
I keep forgetting that Notch is an asshole.
I am an asshole. Would you say I'm playing me?
At times,
yes. Okay.
At times, yeah. I can see the reflection.
Okay, just putting that out there.
The lore-wise, they are an organization that comes and goes through history when magic proves too potent to be handled by mundane means. They are a group of people that are devoted to thwarting those that would abuse magic, but empowering those that use it for the service of mankind. That was always been a bit of the motif behind them. However, they themselves are not a good aligned organization. They're not evil. They're just there. They act a lot on religious pomp and purpose. They act very much like a religious organization, but their divine spells are not empowered by a god. They actually are also referred to as the soulless, because every witch hunter trades his soul away. That's how they get their powers. With the they can cast divine magic through this, and they get a certain amount of pact magic from it as well. When a witch hunter dies, whoever they made the deal with gets their soul.
And that's not always technically a bad thing. It depends on who your patron is. We've got there's patrons set up depending on almost kind of for everything you can think of D&D. There's a Pact of Shadow, which is what Notch is. There's a Pact of the Hells for devils. There's a Pact of the Abyss.
And I really wanted to place up the patrons by planes instead of individual creatures.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, there is one of worms.
Yeah.
There's one for dragons. And then celestials. So them two themselves doesn't actually mean that your soul is doomed.
No, it's more like your soul is bound to service.
Yes.
That's the idea. If you're in the Pact of the Hells, that is that you'll be used to fight demons in the World War.
And which is kind of what I'm going through currently in the game. Is there any other packs that I'm missing?
We went through several iterations. Like I went through a whole list of packs, but I think that's like the gist of what it is right now. The Abyss. Yeah,
as I said, it's the Abyss, and it leaves a lot of room with these packs for interpretation. For instance, the Nothingness, I just completely made up myself.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, when you take a pact, you take a mark. And Notch's mark, and I thought this was pretty clever when I come up with it. It says eyes, because you get a pack sign, which is your eyes, your voice, and is it your arm?
Yeah.
And
it's meant to be mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, and my guy, Notch, took his eyes. And what his are is, his eyes are almost like mirrors. There's no pupil, there's no dilation, and they're mirrors that open up into the Shadowfell, and usually when you look into them, you see the nothingness staring back at you. And he constantly wears a hat. He's a tiefling. His horns stick out his hat. He constantly tries to wear it low so you can't look into his eyes.
Now, the last time someone looked in your eyes, it had a very estranged effect.
Yes. And I use it mostly for an intimidation factor, but now that we've been Grackle Stug, it's kind of been different. That since I made the pact with a Bubido, as I will not say his name because I fear invoking the devil's name to anybody here listening.
a long-range devil that has not been in the game since it was first made, the first edition.
Yes, so you should watch Out of the Abyss to find out what we're talking about. Each pact is attuned to a certain energy type.
Yes, I felt that was a bit of the thing. You're protected against a type of magical energy.
And it makes sense. If we're working for your patron, there he would want to protect you to some degree to do some bidding. So,
Hell is fire, celestial, radiant. Shadows, necrotic, abyss. I always imagine the abyss being filled with like poisons in my asthma and everything, so I made them poison. Worms depends on what your patron is.
Which makes a lot of sense depending on your dragon type.
And what's in my homebrew world, the Worm Pact acts as a reference to that, because dragons in there are a part of the elemental planes.
So,
I thought that was a nice call sign.
and not to get off track here, but I assume that's what Thimbershaw's all about now.
Yes.
So that's why I took that from there.
That I like to do those little references just for myself. Just for nostalgia's sake.
So, that's kind of everything in a nutshell. Now, we have our own homebrew stuff that we're working on.
Yeah, a complete documentation of random things that we've made so far.
Classes, archetypes, we got some magic weapons, some spells Smiley's come up with. And we're going to throw that as a link in the description for this, so make sure you check that out. You can find Witch Hunter and all the archetypes that we've covered.
It is a evolving, in-progress document. It's nowhere near complete.
Yeah, but we're just trying to get that out there, let people experiment. We actually ran a convention here locally, Cape Comic Con, and we had a copy of it, which we gave away. So it is floating out there locally, to the extent we're unsure, much like the Witch Hunters. If it's there, it's there, and if you'll know it, you'll know it. So, but with that, this wraps up D&D. For the Villains Man, I'm JVD.
I'm Smiley.
Keep the dice rolling, guys.